Three, two, one.
Hi, this is Michael Buffer, and let's get ready for EJ Boxing Live.
Yo, what's going on, people? Oh, everyone's having a great Tuesday over here in London, UK, England, and so we're gonna talk about the main topic of the evening. Should I say the main evening? Give you my take. Everyone's been giving their two pences and talking about what's up SSB 28. Um, I haven't done like thing since last week, so I'm trying to be more active. So here with the title, yeah, this is big news in it. So I'll give you my take as I come from the same gym as Xavier Miller, Mark Tibbs, and tell you how it coincide with the George Groves and Adam Booth and Paddy Fitzgerald saga. So and I think that's where we're probably gonna start actually. That's probably where we're gonna start for those that are coming in. Wait for people to come in, a bit more people come in. So let me get this up on the screen right now so people can you know hear what I'm coming from or get the idea where we're coming from. So to see how these scenarios always seem to pop up in boxing, these kind of things, and see how it goes. Now the news and whatever. So all right, so George Groves, if you remember, he got awarded the WBA title fight, super middleweight title fight. Was it WBA title fight against Carl Froch. He made himself mandatory, right? And he had what's up, Raphael Dawkins? Big up to Raphael Dawkins, Combat Radio, singers here. Boy, well, this one's a bit different. I'm just bringing parallels in, Rafi, and listening and see, just start giving a different perspective on a bigger picture that I feel like in boxing and just in life, how things always come around and go around to see how it's going to work out. So, all right, so George Groves put himself in position to get the WBA eliminator for Carl Froch. And I believe he beat Glenn Johnson. I interviewed him actually. Glenn Johnson, who had a fight with Clinton Woods and knocked out Roy Jones. I think he beat him, decisioned him on a 12-round eliminator to get himself in position to fight Carl Froch. And in that process, Adam Booth was with him at that point. But because George Groves, I felt he felt like he couldn't get Glenn Johnson out, knock him out, and that there was kind of backwards and forwards. Adam Booth was still the manager at this time and the trainer, but they kind of fell apart. And there comes in Paddy Fitzgerald. He was a second. Listen to this. He was a second, as the same as Xavier Miller in the camp. George confided in him a lot of things, and even though Adam, and when him and Adam didn't get along, Paddy Fitzgerald was always there. And George decided inexplicably and shockingly to make Paddy Fitzgerald the coach and no longer to be with Adam Booth on his biggest fight of his career, massive biggest fight of his career. He put Paddy Fitzgerald in at this late in the day. That's what most people thought, to be the head coach, even though Paddy Fitzgerald's been there as the second with Adam Booth for maybe like 3 fights. So he's been there all along. So he was made the number one, and a lot of people was like, why would you do that when you've got your first world title fight and you're gonna put yourself in with a new coach? But Paddy Fitzgerald's the thing. Well, I've been with George for a while. I know Adam Booth's Adam Booth's style. Been working with him, so we'll be fine. And I remember all the questions about Paddy Fitzgerald. Who is he? No one ever heard of him. And in fact, yeah, since after that, does anyone even know who Paddy Fitzgerald is now? Anyway, George Groves goes into the fight with Carl Froch, the biggest fight of the biggest fight, and he starts to put a beating on Carl Froch. It was a up and backwards and forwards fight, and then George Groves puts him down, puts Carl Froch down, but George Groves couldn't finish the job. Carl Froch is in trouble. He gets through the scenario, and next thing you know, he starts putting on George Groves, and Howard Foster Jr. jumps in and stops the fight. And everyone, and obviously they think, it's conspiracy and stuff like that, backwards and forward. What's up, Michael Thompson? Yes, Dillian White needs Tibbs, all right? And so George Groves is, is upset and stuff like that. Paddy Fitzgerald is there in the corner. But hey, listen, the game plan worked beautifully. It's just that George couldn't, go through the gears and finish off Carl Froch. And, at that point, no one was thinking about Adam Booth, man. And Adam Booth was like, yo, this Paddy Fitzgerald guy, you know what I mean? Like, listen, George is still George. He put Carl Froch down. And a lot of people thought if that fight, what's up, Tommy? Big up, yeah. A lot of people thought if the referee didn't intervene, they wanted to see that fight continue. Therein lies one of the biggest fight in British boxing history, the rematch in Wembley Stadium. 90-something thousand people turned up for the rematch. The pushing and shoving on the pitch of the Wembley Stadium, and it was one of the biggest fights at the time. Massive. Paddy Fitzgerald is there in place, and George Groves ready to try and get, feel like he's wronged the right, and he gets knocked out. He got what he did. He got cobraed by Carl Froch in one of the biggest fights of his career. Later on, obviously, George Groves went on. But when George Groves went on, he left Paddy Fitzgerald. In fact, he blamed Paddy Fitzgerald for the tactics in that fight. And then George Groves picked up, what's his name? Shane McGuigan and the McGuigans. And from the McGuigans, they done pretty well. World Boxing Series, picked up a world title. And, won the world. No, he didn't. He got to the final of the World Boxing Super Series. He lost to Callum Smith, but in a pretty nice little decent run coming back. But Paddy Fitzgerald wasn't a part of that. Backwards and forward. It was Shane McGuigan. Shane McGuigan was there. And my point is that sometimes the fighter, they will choose people side with them, but just to get them over the edge, you know what I mean? And Adam Booth was the guy in the corner the majority of the time, and Paddy Fitzgerald was a second. So now let's move over. Now, I'm not saying this situation could happen, but it's similar situation. It's very similar. All right, so let's bring in my good friend in the situation. All right, so there you go. All righty. So this is the one that everyone wants to talk about, isn't it? Dillian White, Xavier Miller, Mark Tibbs. Similar situation, but circumstances dictate to that. You know what I mean? Circumstances. I'm not too sure what went on, but in terms of this corona thing, it's quite, one of the most shocking things, in the world to happen. That obviously half the world shut down and stayed in their houses, self-isolation to try and stay away from this deadly disease that has killed a lot of people. And Mark Tibbs, smartly said, well, I'm going to stay with my family while this epidemic's going on. I don't know when it's going to finish. And Xavier Miller stayed with Dillian through this pandemic, whatever, by his side. And he's been rewarded for it. Now, how the similar is that Mark Tibbs was the head coach through how many fights? And Xavier Miller came on, I believe, around the Marius Walk fight. So it's just the last fight he had a bit before that. And Mark Tibbs, they got a good relationship, but because of the circumstance, they couldn't really be there. Couldn't really be there for Dillian. So Dillian's decided to go with Xavier Miller, who's been there in the camp with him. Same thing, similar to George Groves and Adam Booth. Paddy Fitzgerald was there, but this is again where the scenario is parallel. This is one of the biggest fights. Now it's not necessarily a world title fight, but it's a world title fight eliminator. All right, biggest fight for Dillian's career. Thus far, the most dangerous guy since he's fought Anthony Josh. Even though the guy's older, still the most dangerous fight that Dillian's gonna. And Xavier Miller is in the position now where the situation might be different. Is that Xavier Miller and Dillian, they'll depends on how they perform. And I did tell you, George Groves against Carl Froch in the first fight, he performed magnificently just to get the job done. So, can Xavier Miller bridge the gap and get Dillian over the hump? That's what people want to say. He is officially, for those who don't know, he's officially the head coach of Dillian's camp. So he's the head coach, and Dillian's made that. That hasn't come out in statement, but obviously I know. Give a little background on Xavier Miller as well. I know him. I've known him from school Um, and he's always loved, he's always loved the fisticuffs, he's always loved the art of boxing. He watched boxing religiously. Even probably now he's probably watching old fights, watching all new fights. People say he's a Philly show master, but he obviously loves many styles. One of his favorite fighters actually is Philly Trinidad. He likes that left hook of Trinidad. And there's a lot of guy, and Riddick Bowe's one of his favorite fighters as well. So he watches a lot of different styles, and he'll be sitting down the game plan with Dillian to make sure Dillian runs the game plan backwards and forwards in his head of how to beat Povetkin quite handily, comprehensively, and to make Dillian look the best Dillian can be. And obviously, I think they got Ruben Alvarez as the strength and conditioner to keep Dillian down to a certain weight. So they've got everything in place for Dillian to be successful. And Xavier Miller, if they do well, all the doubters will be shh. They have nothing to say. You know what I mean? They will have nothing to say. If Xavier Miller and the new camp, the new head coach does pretty well, he'll put his name out there. And I'll tell you what, this is some good backstory coming into the fight. Xavier Miller, like I said to you, he's a scholar of the sport. He obviously worked with Don Charles over there in the what's it called, Punch London, and he's a guy who learns and watches and studies, and he's always open to listen to what ideas is. He's not one of them guys they shut down and he's gonna not listen. So he's open to ideas, but I think they've got the game plan solidly out of what exactly they're going to do Povetkin and how they're going to beat Povetkin and try and beat Povetkin like no one else. The last guy who beat Povetkin obviously was Anthony Joshua, and even Josh took some punches in that fight, right? And the guy before was Klitschko, and Klitschko went the distance. So it's not easy to actually go in there and stop this guy. The only one that is Anthony Joshua. So this is one of the hardest fights in there. And like I said to you, I think Xavier and Dillian, we're sitting down on a great cramp. The problem is, right, this is where a lot of people, what's up, blood boxing? Yeah, I agree. It's the dangerous fight. Well, the problem is that with Mark Tibbs now has come out. This is where the intrigue is now. Mark Tibbs has come out and on his channel and made a video saying he didn't know about, he hasn't talked to Dillian since before the corona, and he got a lawyer, the lawyer of Dillian, to inform him that he's no longer wanted in the camp, and he felt like he's been disrespected, and because he feel like he's disrespected, he's gonna, he wishes Dillian the best and stuff like that, but Dillian's team did say they want you to come in that 3 weeks, but he didn't want to be a part of that. He wanted to step his imprint on what he thought they should do coming into the fight. And obviously his dad is Jimmy Tibbs, the very widely experienced, been in Nigel Ben, all that. What's up, Joe Host? Big up to you as well on the climb. But yeah, but it's still good. Yeah, it's still good. But it's still good, Rafi. You know what I mean? So this is the one of the most dangerous fights of his career. Now, Mark Tibbs has come out and is contrary to what Dillian's saying about they split amicably. Mark had other commitments, that he's saying that he hasn't talked to Dillian. They haven't even talked. And a lot of Dillian's fighters have left Mark Tibbs as well. Richard Raphael is obviously with Dillian. And also, what's his name? Robbie Harden Jr. has left him as well. But they've come out and they actually told him as well. But with Dillian, they have no contact. But Xavier Miller is the guy who's been there backing up Mark Tibbs. So they've kind of built a relationship. But Dillian's like what Xavier Miller's doing, and he's decided to make him the head coach. So that's what's going on. Yeah, what's good, man? What's good, my brother? Good to see all you guys over, man. You know what I mean? It's been a long time. So, like I said, I've known Xavier for a long time. He's a study of the sport. He studied the sport exclusively. So I wish him all the best, and him and Dillian are the best. And I'm expecting Dillian to put a great performance on Povetkin and look really good and get themselves in position to fight Dillian White. I really hope that's going to be scenario, rather than people think, well, at this point, Mark Tibbs was the one who got him to that fight. Dillian is the man in the ring fighting. You know what I mean? The coach can guide you and tell you, but you're the man. Then the thing is, I feel with the Tibbs, yeah, we're really experienced, is his dad. When you got Jimmy Tibbs in the background, yeah, talking to Mark and giving experience, he brings a lot of wisdom in the thing. Now, I want to see, obviously, in the Xavier camp, right? The Xavier camp, who's he going to bring in as an old, wily, experienced guy in there? You always need an old, wily veteran in there that when you're in the corner, you might not see stuff. You need someone in there. You know what I mean? And like I said, Xavier's been in the fight with Dillian White and Derek Chisora. He was on Derek Chisora's side, and Don Charles was there. in that camp with obviously how that, didn't really end up well for Derek Chisora. Now he's with Dillian on Dillian's side, and Dillian is going against one Povetkin, gold medalist, all the amateur accomplishments. Come on, y'all, smash the like button. Yeah, thank you, bro, boxing, man. Exactly, man. Big up, bro, boxing. You know what I'm saying? So this fight for Dillian, I'm obviously in the UK. You want him to, and obviously Xavier too. Well, IQ Boxing Club in Neasden is based in Northwest London. He has his own fighters, own stable of fighters that I've been fighting out of Steve Goodwin's thing, and they've been fighting on the York Hall. They've been trying to make a name for themselves. So this will help propel a lot of the fighters from the IQ Boxing Club on the bigger scene. One of the best fighters, obviously, I put in my channel, is Yusuf Super Kamari. You see Yusuf Super Kamari, he's got the same kind of James Toney kind of show that he fights at, but that's not the same as all of Xavier's fights. Like, he has all different styles to suit the fighters on their personalities. And I feel with Dillian coming into this fight, a lot of people think how he looked in Mario Swookie is experimenting, but even though he was experimenting, he kind of he won, like, I think it was a 10-rounder. He won 8 of the 10 rounds, but it didn't look how people expected. But who does in front fighting Mario Swookie, to be fair, most people thought they wanted to see Dillian throwing hand punches and just trying to knock him out, but he didn't. So we're gonna have to see how that's in. But I can tell you one thing with Xavier Miller and Dillian, they're gonna be sitting down and breaking down exactly how to make this fight look good, clinical, and to forget about Mark Tibbs has done well to get him to this point, to forget about what's gone in the past. And then the day, this is a stressful time. The corona virus has been devastating for a lot of people, and Xavier Miller has been rewarded by staying by Dillian's side. But end of the day, that's what you got to do. And Dillian couldn't really bring in any other coach at this point, because Xavier Miller's been there with him through thick and thin. And that's more or less where I'm coming from. The parallels between George Groves and Adam Booth with Paddy Fitzgerald, Xavier Miller, Mark Tibbs, and Dillian White. This is where the parallel is. Now it's up to them to break the, so let's say, break the mold and get through. It's always happened in boxing, but most people are quite negative at this point. They don't know Xavier Miller. They feel like maybe Dillian should have stayed with Mark Tibbs, but Mark Tibbs was never there. When the Cronus thing started off, he was at home with his family, which most people were, and he was going to sit and wait until this thing out. And Xavier Miller said, nope, I'm going to jump on board. I'm going to be with you. I'm going to stick with you, and I'm going to stay with you and let this thing out. And he's been rewarded. Now, I tell you what, I'd like someone like that right by my side. You know what I mean? Because Dillian was going to fight. And imagine if Dillian didn't have a coach around him and he was just there training. And the fight with Povetkin was because Povetkin was training in Russia. You guarantee Povetkin was training in Russia. So, in effect, he's been rewarded. And I expect these two to do great things. And I'm looking forward to Dillian and the new coach putting on a real clinical display. Dillian needs to change. It's obvious. Yeah, he did it. Yeah, you know what I mean? Remember, I liked him with Jonathan Banks. Retro boxing, blood boxing. I liked him when he was with Jonathan Banks. I taught Jonathan Banks a couple of times, and he was starting to get what Jonathan Banks was doing. But the problem is Jonathan Banks got other offers, and he went with I think it was Cecilia Brackers, and I think Klitschko. Maybe I think Klitschko was probably calling him at the time. I think Klitschko was calling at the time, so he went back there, and Dillian was left without our coach. At this point, me and Dillian was actually talking back then, because you know what I mean. I was actually talking to him. I called him straight after the AJ fight. Me and since then we don't really talk too much, because I criticized him on with Derek Chisora back as well. So me and Dillian, I can't really reach him on the phone no more like that. Hey, listen, I talked to Xavier Miller, and he's officially the head coach right now. So I'm just making everyone clear of that. Even though there's no announcements, I'm telling you right now, he's officially the head coach. There will be an announcement probably the weekend. We've got some weeks to go. It's the back end of August before this fight happens. So I'm letting everyone know that. But the parallels between the George Groves and the Sargo, Adam Booth, and Dillian and Adam Tibbs and Mark Tibbs are there. But I wish, like I said to you, the Paddy Fitzgerald with George Groves, they did well. The game plan was working well. This Carl Froch was resilient. He was resilient. Is Povetkin going to be resilient for Dillian? I can't see it, man. If Dillian lands one of them big left hooks, anyone, it doesn't matter who you are. Even Parker was pretty sturdy, and Dillian put him down. So no one can survive the left hook of Dillian. He'll crush you. You know what I mean? So AJ Nini went down. So there's a lot of people with the big leg hook. We saying White does not in does indeed talk a lot. Yeah, he does, man. Smack, but yeah, let's see him come back. Exactly. At least he was honest. Yeah, with White. Exactly. Like I said to you, when it comes to these things, it's like it's a strange how things work. How hard work pays off, but loyalty does get rewarded. I don't know. I'm not too sure if Deontay Wilder's still with Mark Brain. I hope he still are. You know what I mean? But sometimes you bring a new coach and has a different voice. Someone you can listen to because it really does come down to when it comes to the fighter, how the fighter respects the coach. And even though he may respect Mark Tibbs, but I feel like Dillian is one of them guys that is like, bro, this guy don't want to be with me, and this guy's with me. I'm just gonna show loyalty. And another thing as well, I'm gonna put it like this. Xavier Miller was with Dillian after the drug scandal. So the drug scandal, when this happened, a lot of people kind of distanced themselves from Dillian White because they feel he was guilty. Obviously, he's got through that. And Xavier Miller opened up his gym to Dillian White when he was going through that dark time in his life, and he got over it. So there's a lot of loyalty that Xavier Miller has shown to Dillian. He's opened himself, so Dillian is definitely rewarding him in this situation and give the guy a chance in his biggest fight. As Mark Brilliant has been fired, has he been fired? Okay. If Mark Brilliant's been fired, then you know what? Maybe they needed that change anyway, because at some point you need someone in there to put a foot up the fight. You know what I'm saying? To put a foot on the fighter. The fighter needs to be able to respect the guy in the corner. You know what I mean? We'll see if Dillian White and Xavier Miller get into any sort of troubles in the corner and see how Xavier operates in that. You know what I mean? Blood, is it official? Okay, it's asking Joe Host is official. Hey, Blood knows, man. He knows, he's got the contacts, man. I'm sure he wouldn't be saying it if it wasn't official. I heard that he's got a new trainer. So I heard it was George Foreman. You know what I'm saying? I heard it's George Foreman. So, but I tell you what, let's see, man. Let's see how this scenario is going to play out. Dillian White has got one of the biggest fights of the contract. Mark Tibbs is making some waves, though, saying that it wasn't amicably why they split. And the videos from IFL and Seconds Out have been taken off because they can't substantiate the remarks from Mark Tibbs. This is why the videos of Mark Tibbs were taken down. But Mark Tibbs has uploaded the video of what he's talked about Dillian on his own channel. So he's showing that he wants people to know why him and Dillian don't break up. I don't think Dillian's team are very happy about that. So they haven't split really amicably at this point. And Mark Tibbs hasn't talked to Dillian since before that. So hey, that's how things go. But Dillian knew he had the date. Eddie Hearn told him he's got a date. So it was up to Dillian to get ready for a fight. And he rewarded the trainer who was low by him. So this here is gonna be a cracker. I expect this fight here. Listen, however this fight ends, Dillian will deserve his shot at the winner of Fury and Wilder, which most people think is going to be Fury. I do not think so. I think Wilder will win. I think Wilder will come back and beat Fury. I've seen Fury's been training and Fury's been training, but he's not training with Javante. He's not training with Javante Sugar Hill. He's not training with him. Javante Sugar Hill was all the way in Detroit. He's training how he's training with whoever. You know what I mean? He's probably in shape, but he's not training. Deontay Wilder, if I was him, especially with American coaches, the great coaches you could pull up, get one of the best coaches available who you respect, you know what I'm saying, and get the job done, bro. Get the job done, you know what I mean? You don't disrespect people by letting people out, letting guys a lot of times Deontay, where I feel anyway, when he's boxing, he just lets people win rounds and he's looking for that one punch. You can't do that with Fury, man. You're gonna have to put rounds in the bank on this one. You know what I mean? And then if the punch lands, it lands, rather than just settle and try and throw the big right hand. But if the big right hand lands, at least go for the body. Try and throw it to the body a couple of times. But Fury's gonna be coming in very confident because Deontay trying to push Deontay right around. We're gonna see. But I feel Deontay Wilder, I feel he'll come through. Fury will get with Sugar Hill. Yeah, 12 weeks. Yeah, they'll get him. The thing is, it's all about game plans at this high level. Who's got the smartest game plan? You know what I mean? Like, obviously Fury's gonna probably try and do the same thing, intimidate him, try to bully him. And it's up to Wilder to say, yo, that's not gonna happen. I ain't taking a back step. I'm gonna fight you in the pocket. I'm gonna fight you inside, outside. I'm gonna put punches together. I think if Wilder put punches together rather than just jab, right hand and just look for that, then I think he's got a chance. You know what I'm saying? He got overwhelmed. He underestimated Fury. No, shouldn't happen this time. He should be looking to to stand his ground and fight for your spot, almost like ready to go in them sort of scenarios. You know what I'm saying? Fight for your square. You know what I mean? Don't take a back step with Fury. Look, put Fury back how he was before in the first fight, skating around the ring. That's what Wilder needs to do. Put this kid back on the back foot and let him go around the ring. Let him dance and wear himself out. So Wilder was expecting, and Fury just said, "Nah, this time I'm not doing that. I'm gonna come for you. I'm gonna come square up." So yeah, Wilder needs to fight in the pocket. Yeah, because Fury won't expect. That's something Fury wouldn't expect. Because Wilder, what happened in the fight is that the moment Fury got on the front foot, Wilder went on the back foot and never recovered. So if he fights in the pocket and fights in the area, no holding, just tighten up your guard, put your chin down, and start digging in some body shots and head shots. Remember again, Wilder still hits hard, so any shots hitting in them areas is still gonna hurt him. You know what I mean? Fury mugged him, man. Fury mugged Wilder, man. He mugged Wilder, hit him around the back of the head. Hit him in shots, and people obviously, the fist, and you at some point you have to stand your ground, man. You have to stand your ground, stand your square. And I have a lot of fighters that in the pocket. Yeah, that's what it's called, the pocket fight. I have a lot of fighters that I train, and I'm telling you that at some point I say, listen, you're losing the fight. You ain't gonna lose your respect. You're gonna have to stand there and get respect. You're gonna get the respect. And in a 12-round fight strategy, Fury's strategy worked out. That what Wilder wasn't good at is not fighting on the back foot. So how you stop that is that you hold your ground. Just hold your ground, and I ain't going back no more. But there's one thing, I ain't going back. So if I ain't going back, guess where you going? You either gonna stand there with me or you gonna go back. That's exactly how you do it, man. EJ, yeah. Good to see you on, man. I got to go in the subway. Yeah, you open, man. That's all right, blood, man. We catch up soon, bro. No worries, man. That's exactly how I see. I don't forget that the Kung Fu paint. Yeah, that's exactly how I see the scenario playing out. If Wilder feels like he needs to get a win, he needs to be able to fight in the pocket and put Fury back on his skates, back how he was in the first fight, and then he's got a good chance of winning the fight comprehensively. You know what I mean? Because any other way, it's gonna be a war. You have to stand your ground. So, anyway, this is how I see it. Dillian White, Povetkin, right now, I'm calling them right now. I think they get through, and I think they look spectacular, fresh, revitalized, and Dillian looks good. And this, to be fair, yeah, the short guys was hard to fight. Povetkin's hard to fight, but I think if Dillian throws these little body shots in, little uppercuts in the body, pushes him back, and just tightens up, shortens the hooks in there, I think Povetkin ain't gonna like it. He doesn't like. Remember again, have you ever seen Povetkin on the back foot? Just putting out there. Has anyone seen Povetkin on the back foot? So how about we put Povetkin on the back foot, make him fight backwards? I don't think he can. I think Povetkin only knows one way, is coming forward and fighting them punches. And I think if Dillian can do that, I think Povetkin's in trouble. So we'll have to see. Big up to Tommy. Big up to everyone in the chat. All the guys all coming over. Hope you guys like my little kind of like scenario between George Groves and Adam Booth, and obviously Dillian and Mark Tibbs situation. How I see it paralleling, and I'm telling you, this is coming into a great fight. We got another fight coming actually. My guy's actually what's his name again? Gonna be fighting not next week, the week after. Is Jerome Steady Campbell. Let me pull it up on the screen. He's fighting on the undercard of one of these cards. We got some good fights coming up. Okay, let me bring up 1 second. Let me get this up because we got some good fights coming up here in the UK. While I'm here, I'll just bring this up. Jeff Afori. Okay, all right. So we're gonna go through the fights. This fight's already gone already, so we should be here. All right. All right. So these are the fights coming up, right? Okay, all right. So this card's already gone already. Joe Joyce is going to be fighting on the 25th of July. So that's what next Saturday, all right? And everyone was expecting him to fight Daniel Dubois, but what they've done, they've got tune-ups because of the coronavirus. He's got tune-ups, so he's fighting some guy called Welshly or whatever his name is, I expect him to get through the fight. I've never heard of that guy before. We got Arthur versus Spider. I don't even know. I don't know who that is. But on this card here, right? My guy, see this guy Nick Ball. He's gonna be fighting Drone Stay Ready Campbell, who he actually came out of IQ, but he's been training with one good trainer called L. Austin. And he's been training with him and getting him ready for that fight. And obviously, hopefully he get an interview on Raphael Dawkins. Try to get an interview on Raphael Dawkins channel so you guys know who he is. And that's like a 50-50 fight. So I really anticipate looking forward to that fight. And also another guy that I actually talked to, Jeffer, he's fighting against Arthur Sharp. I'll try and get Rafi interview with this guy as well, Jeffer. He fight Islington Boxing Club. And this is a fight that it's a hard fight for Jeffer, but he's been at a couple of TV fights. The last fight he lost against Ahara Davis. It should be a hard fight, but hey, listen, Jeff's always going to be in there. So I wish Jeff all the best. And then Daniel Dubois fighting this guy, who's this Phil, whatever his name is. He's fighting that fight there. It's obviously him and Joe Joyce and Daniel Dubois hopefully looking to fight each other somewhere in the future. So these are the up and coming cards on BT Sports, and I will be covering these fights. I think I'll be covering the Joe Joyce fight, and I'll definitely be covering Jerome Stay Ready Campbell versus Nick Ball. That fight I'll be definitely covering, and I'll be covering it live on my channel. So these are the fights I'll be covering, and Jeffer fight 100%, and Daniel Dubois. So these are up and coming fights. Look out that I will be covering. Hope you guys enjoyed what my take between Mark Tibbs and Dillian White and Xavier Miller. And yeah, man, that's more or less I've got to say. Been here for a bit, chatting about, but you know, end of the day, I don't just bringing some light to the situation. And like I said to you, Xavier Miller's worked his way into the situation. He deserves it. People don't like the circumstances well, but end of the day, I don't think really you can't really look on who's wrong and who's right. It's just the way things are. And Xavier is the man of the hour, too sweet to be sour, and he has the job. And let's see if he can do the job very well and start bringing through some of his other fighters and make a name for himself in British boxing. I'm EJ Boxing Live. Big up to everyone in the chat. Appreciate all the comments. So I put all the comments. There's a lot of comments. You guys have been commenting. Actually, let me just show the comments down there. Big up to SSB28. You know what I'm saying? All the big news there. Raphael Dawkins Combat Radio. If you're not subscribed, make sure you subscribe. Yes. That's Raphael's best. This referee always starts over that. Michael Thomas, big up to him. He's got Tywin Booth in the picture, isn't it? Yes, Dillian. Yeah. Big up to Tommy Temper. Big up to Tommy Temper in the group. And the Google Hangout. You know what I mean? Got a group down there. You know what I'm saying? Tommy Temper and Get the Smoke. They've got their own group. Big up to them. Big up to Retro Boxing and Documentary. That's Blood Boxing. Big up to him. And big up to him coming over. Was it the Guru? Big up to you. Big up you, my friend, coming over. Tough fight. Yeah, exactly. I got my guy Joe Host. You know what I'm saying? He's over in the chat. So hey, listen, they got loads of guys coming over to come support. So I appreciate all you guys, man. You know what I'm saying? Giving your input. So I'm EJ Boxing Live, and yeah, man, I have to catch you guys on the next installment, which will be very soon. You'll have a great evening. I'll talk to you soon. Peace.